This is the Ninja's Way podcast, where we talk all things ninja industry, ranging from top-tier athletes to the local ninja entrepreneur. Listen to their journey to success as they conquer obstacles in ninja and in life. This is the Ninja's Way. Welcome back, everybody, to the Ninja's Way podcast. I'm here with Jake, my co-host from Conquer Ninja, and today we have Julie. Julie is a high school art teacher. She is a small business owner of both Pop and Hold and Ninja Logic. So she is an entrepreneur. She's a Ninja Gym owner, and so I'm super excited to chat with her today. Julie, thanks for being on.
Happy to be with you.
School teacher too? I was not aware of that.
I neglected that. That's my main position. I've been an art teacher in Hanover for more than 20 years. I have 24 and 3/4 under my belt, actually. So I'm on the downslide looking at the retirement end.
That's very cool.
Yeah, you are busy then.
Just a bit. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Take us back. Like, what happened first? Did you open the Ninja Gym first? Did you start Pop and Hold first? What business came first?
So I'm just going to go back like a quick second. So my husband and I decided we were going to go on a month-long trip through Europe, and we're going to take our 5-year-old. So all that's crazy in itself. But with my husband being military, we were going to visit a friend of his that was still in the military. So we decided we were going to Portugal. And while we were getting to and from all of that, the show of my daughter's kindergarten teacher was season 10, I believe. And Chad Riddle is the kindergarten ninja. And Zoe had been filmed in his expose. NBC came out, did her entire thing. And so we were like, oh, super cool for him. And she's going to be there. We're in Portugal when it airs. Of course, we can't see it. So when we get home, we're like, got to see this. And he said, hey, a friend of mine just opened a gym. It's right here in Hanover. And we're like, oh, cool. We'll check it out. So we go over. And we're a couple of weeks after the launch. And we walk in and we're like, wow, this is super cool. This is something parents are dreaming of for their kids. Like, they don't necessarily have to go be in gymnastics, though that's great for some. It wasn't necessarily our path. And we were like, we really love the problem solving, being a teacher. I was like, this is great. So we're like, we're all in. About that time, I thought I'd be super crazy and I would do a year master's program. So I turned over a master's program in less than a year. I had 2 weeks off. And I said to my husband, you're going to have to take her somewhere. She's got to go. I have papers to write. I have things to do. Take her to the gym. Let her give at it. And that was it. Like, we were sold. Done. So I think maybe my master's, the push of that, coming back, him starting it with a friend, we were like, we're in. And then from there on out, we were sitting in the hallway and we were meeting families and friends and people and things. And we're like, this is awesome. Surreal. She's getting better. She's just 5.5 at that point in time. And we're like, where is this going to take us? We have no clue. Now it's taken us to owning the business because we bought the business shortly after COVID when the prior owner made some decisions to go back to work and it wasn't working necessarily for his family and his fit. And my husband, Keith, came home one night and he said, so do we start doing Ninja in our 24 by 40 foot garage on our property, or do I buy the business? And I was like, that's a no brainer. You buy the business. Mm-hmm. So for us, it was not only our daughter and our family and the fit for what we can do to provide structure to an environment that's not always happens in a Ninja gym. Sure. So we foresaw those kind of things. And we were, by that chance or time, we were immersed in the community and we just saw the love of it for everyone. And we have a competitive team and she was involved in that. And neither of us could imagine not owning the business and continuing with that. So we're actually second owners of Ninja Logic, but flourishing nonetheless and don't have any intentions of it going away by any means. One day Zoe might take over and one day we might have some of our coaches that are there be more involved. And I am still looking at that retirement because he's retired. So my husband is more busy now, having been fully retired from the military. And I'm looking forward to that. So we do a lot right now, but that's where the ownership came from.
You say, after COVID, gym was struggling. Okay, should we do it in our garage or should we buy this gym? And you say gym, no brainer. So what were you thinking at that point? How did you guys do that transitioning? Did your husband own or operate then? Or how did you guys do that?
We purchased the business from the prior owner. And so we obviously own, it's just he and I,
Yeah.
and rightfully, yep, own it all outright. And we've been building and adding to it. So we look at it like there are some business models where you say I'm going to rent this space and I'm going to go all in, and I'm possibly going to be in debt for a long time because I want it to be brand new and I want it to look fresh. And that's one direction. He and I are second kids in a family structures that we go, when it breaks, you figure out how to fix it and you problem solve. So we come at the business from that end. We didn't buy brand new, and then it's build it as it can go, and understand that also teaches the kids a lot too. Like when they walk in and things are, hey, next week we're gonna be off for a day or two because we're gonna be moving some things around in the gym, and then that immerses them in what's happening. So if we change over some rigs or we have some structure that's changing, it's neat to see all of that as well. So I feel like we're more do it from the bootstraps, the ground going up, and the lay of the land isn't always clear as compared to, we all know there's other business models where you can just rent a space and you're going to fill it and you're going to go from there, but you're going to be paying off your debt, so to speak, with what you had to buy. My husband and I really have no debt in the business. So it's really nice to see what we're doing, and it's grassroots.
Yeah. That's very cool. So, how do you feel like Ninja Logic is different from any other Ninja gym? What makes the experience different and unique to somebody who walks in the door?
I think sometimes there's a different perspective on what I do for a living and how I see it. I walk through the doors and it's a no-brainer. I walk through the doors and I see like how it should look. I see the aesthetics and where things should be, and I go for the zen, and I go, wait, but that's not going to flow. And then it does have to mesh with my husband's view, which is, no, that has to be there. This has to be here. We need to do this, and we need that flow. So it certainly is a meshing of the two minds. I am definitely the creative, and I have some engineering kind of thought process background, but he is definitely the engineer and the practical person. He needs to be pragmatic. So when I dream, you got to put that on hold for a little bit because I can't make that dream happen. And I was like, it's okay. You just need to hear my dream. And one day it will come true, or one day we will have problem solved to some of those things. And he is, like I said, definitely the pragmatic and make sure that things are able to be done in a certain period of time with a certain amount of money and so on. So it does keep us balanced in the business to be able to say that. He'll say, not yet, or let's go for it.
Sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I love to see ninja parents become ninja gym owners, right? Because they come at it from this place where they could see the spark of the love of their kid latch on to ninja. And it's so cool that you guys were able to purchase the business during 2020. Obviously, it's a challenging time for fitness and businesses in general. Coming out of that season, what were some things that you had to overcome?
So just a quick pivot on that. We didn't buy it in 2020. We bought it after. The gym had some struggles in and of itself, and the prior owner, and we worked through it. So there were some pivotal points. I believe the actual partnership, or excuse me, for Keith and I to have taken over was 2022. I know that conversation started 2021 when he was doing that. So just as a precursor to that. But nonetheless, we saw the decline of clientele. We saw the decline of being able to be there for classes. Not everyone in the community felt the same way about COVID or about being in close proximity to people. And rightfully, it was like, how do we do this? I think everybody pivoted to a point where your kid is on Zoom doing push-ups in the basement because that's what everybody was doing before they could get back to the gym. And you taught your kid that that's okay. And you also taught your kid that, hey, they can still continue to figure out how it goes when nobody in the world really knew how it was going to go.
Yeah.
And I think when we took over, there was a decline of things, and that might have dealt with some management part. And adults run things differently than, I hate to say kids, but sometimes they are kids.
Yeah,
And I
they
teach high
had,
school, so I love the kid aspect, but they don't have any life experience. They don't have much customer service understanding. They haven't gone out to eat by themselves very much without a parent. So they're interacting with service staff or managers or people, and they don't always know how to have an adult conversation about an issue. I'm having an issue, I'm getting a little hot about it. How do I bring them back? Or, hey, there's an issue with the software you've chosen to use, and how do I get through that? Most people of a younger age than I, and maybe even Jake, we look at things differently, and we take those experiences and we say, I really want my business model to be how I want to be treated. And I really want that to roll over into the community. And so I'm going to work hard at X, Y, and Z. And I'm going to make sure those things are my current business model or on the cusp of. I run an event, I ask for feedback. At Ninja Logic, we started asking for feedback before WNL started sending out that feedback form, because it was important to me to know what people, when I ran a competition, how did they feel about the rep? How did they feel about the facility? Did they feel like they were comfortable? Was the climate for them? If they brought grandma and grandpa, did they feel like they had a space for them to be sitting for 2 or 3 hours? And so like you look at so many more facets of a business when you come at it sometimes from a different perspective. And we've grown. And I think in all aspects, most of our classes have grown. Our team has grown. I started an adult class a few years ago, and then my husband and I decided we were going to get more fit and healthy. And we both of us lost almost 35 pounds each. And then I was going to do ninja. So I now do tier 2 and I want a gold medal. What is that?
Nice. Well, before we get off the topic of the gym and the business of ninja and the gyms, what would be some advice? Because this probably isn't such a unique situation as the sport grows and as gyms grow throughout the country. Struggling gyms, and this is just business in general, but we're talking about ninja gyms. Families and members are at their gym, wherever it may be, and it's struggling, and maybe they have an opportunity to buy the gym or take over the gym or help with a struggling gym. What would be your advice, knowing what you know now, taking over a gym for them?
I think my biggest piece of advice would to be there and be involved. And I wouldn't go into it saying, I cover the gym on Mondays and Wednesdays. Keith is there on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we have hit adults for Monday through Thursday. And that's whether they're interacting with the team, parents, or the community. And then we've got an adult manager who's there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So 7 days a week that our business is open, you can touch an adult. And they have life experience and they understand where we're going. And I would also say, be available every time. Like I'm at Worlds for 9 days. And though we close the business now because all of our coaches come to Worlds, they know my phone is always on. They know his phone is always on. And I think you do have to know that if you're running a small business, you still have to touch every part of that business in order for it to succeed. And if you don't, you're letting go of something that you rightfully bought into or created to pass on. And that is, I believe, probably one of the most important parts of that ninja gym, is us being there, us being available. And we're saying, hey, these are things that are important to us. And I do feel like that aspect then teaches those who are coming or those who work for us. That's what matters most.
Sure. You speak a lot about having somebody in a management position who is an adult and them having enough life experience. Obviously, in the kids program industry, there are tons of people that are hiring a lot of young kids, right? A lot of high schoolers for their coaches. And so part of the issue or the struggle with that is that these are the people that they can afford, right? Like they can afford the younger generation. They can afford to pay the minimum wage. And so when it comes to you come at your business with this mentality that, hey, we need adults in the room. We need people who are management that are in an older age bracket. So how do you find providing opportunity for these people? Because when people get into that age bracket, they want to have a family. They want to buy a house. And do you feel like having a strong enough business model is allowing you to provide for these adults? Or do you feel like you're here as the owner and you and your husband tandemly working together to provide this?
That's a loaded question there. We have to have a conversation about how many employees we have, what we're paying them, what is their expectations. My husband does that side of the business, so I won't try to take too much over on him, but I know that what's important to us is that, and we might be a niche to the ninja community business owners because we don't pay ourselves. So that might be where we can I have a full-time job that has able to provide for me and rightfully my insurance and things like that and my retirement. He has a full retirement and things. So when you put that kind of spin on it, it might not be like everybody else's model. And they might not ever look at it like that. But we're able to then pay our managers so that they can provide for their family. And then we're able to pay our coaches so that they're able to provide for us and so on. We're not open. I'm not sure what some people's hours are, but we don't look at it like we should be open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. because that's a lot of hours that you may or may not have community coming, which is not income coming in when they're paying and then income going out. We've selected times that we feel are best in the model to be open so that then we're paying who we're paying that provides for them. And it might just be a part-time job for the high school kid. And we know that we're going to turn those over quite often. We've kept them for a long period of time, which is nice.
Yeah.
So Julie, you're telling me Ninja Gym owners don't make millions of dollars?
Sorry, mic drop on that one.
I mean, what?
I think, Jake, I really think we're on the same page. I really feel like we know we love it, and that's why we own it, and that's why we do something for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, the coaches, the gym owners they're billionaires.
Let's hope that's not the only quote that comes out of this.
Yeah, take it out of context.
It is definitely a growing sport. It is a buzzword. There's still people who don't know, even in the town where I live, that when I say to kids, I'm like, yeah, so I'm a teacher and I introduce them. My husband and I own this ninja gym. The kids are like, what? What's that?
Yeah.
So there's still people who don't know what Ninja Warrior, obstacle training, that kind of aspect are, because it's not a household name. It's not baseball. It's not football. It's not even soccer. It's not any of those things because it doesn't have the years of longevity that those sports do. Yeah. And we're all working hard to make it be that next thing because I think we all see the brain development is different. The physical development is different. The problem solving, like I want my daughter to grow up knowing that she doesn't need anybody else in her life. She should want somebody in her life or have someone in her life because she wants them around, not because she needs them. So like problem solving for me comes through Ninja for her because, that obstacle is not going to be the same thing every time she sees it on the course. So her brain has to develop differently. We also have a saying in our house that if you're hungry, it's your own fault. Like you didn't figure out what to do or how to do it. And I just think so many of those things come from this aspect, which is why I love being a Ninja Gym owner. And I love being able to say to people, like, I'm just continuing to problem solve. Isn't that what the world's all about?
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's something that a lot of people who own ninja gyms face is the education of the clientele and education of the community on what ninja is. And is this even a sport? And how do we position it as not like a part-time thing, but as a full-time sport in itself? And so I'm curious, like, what aspects do you do to educate your community on what ninja is and what does that look like?
I think a lot of it is the conversations that I have with families, the mom, the dad who comes in with the kid. We have Ninja Juniors, so we start at age 2 and we go through age 52, whatever it is for our adult classes. And so though that it might be small and the marketing, it might just be on social media, it's that conversation that happens that says, oh, you're here for this. Oh, we also do this and this. Oh, and then it's their conversation. So by the touch of my conversation or his conversation with them and the excitement that we share, they're like, I'm in. I'm going to bring somebody else back. And then you get the referral process and then you get more people coming. And so that education, because of the comforting feeling that they get when they got there, because they might not have gotten it when they went to gymnastics. They went, nope, your kid's going to do X, Y, Z. And you're like, oh, okay, that's different. And that might not be the comfortable level for them. I think in that aspect, it's just rolling education and teaching people what it is. Or when you go somewhere, if my husband and I didn't love what we did, we wouldn't talk about it. Sure. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
And it just goes. And the next time, that's how, I don't know if you're familiar with Ultimate Backyard Warrior with Mike Cook down in North Carolina. Yeah. So we go every year because we love Mike. We love the facility. We love the outside. We love the whole thing. And rightfully so, through being in North Carolina, but a gym from Hanover, Pennsylvania, we now have team members who are on our team who travel more than an hour to get to our facility. Pretty sure it's because of him and I. And you don't need to, I'm humble in that statement. They wouldn't be on our team now driving more than an hour to get to us if they didn't have the feeling of the spirit that we shared with them.
Yeah.
So you have to love what you do, and you also have to educate people on why you're doing it. And that's the buy-in, is that they believe in you. So if they don't believe in you, they're not just going to come to my business.
having somebody there, like when they come to that first free trial or that first time class, like having somebody there to have a conversation with and share that passion with. And a lot of times they'll come in, do a free trial, and then they just leave, and nobody ever gets to actually talk to them and get their excitement and why this could be a good thing for their kid. I think is missing from a lot of gym facilities. So it's awesome to hear that's an integral part of how you educate and connect with people.
And it's actually funny you say that. We don't have any free trials.
Oh, interesting. So what?
So we know that a lot of places do it, but we don't do any free trials. I just had a conversation with somebody that wanted to join in the Ninja Juniors because a friend was already coming. And it was like, hey, we sell 9-week sessions. And she's like, can I join? I'm like, absolutely. So it would be for the remainder of the sessions. And she's like, oh, you don't do drop-ins or free for first trials. And I was like, I haven't met a 2 or 3-year-old that didn't love climbing, swinging, jumping, and running around. And she was like, good point. And again, there's the interaction. Most people would have stopped and said, I'm leaving.
You're right. It's stating the obvious.
Yeah.
Like, what kids don't like doing this? Show me.
And I say to a kid that might not be able to get up the 10-foot warped wall yet, but that's the whole power of yet. So when you walk over, because I leave the desk, I hear a kid, he's complained to a mom or wants to leave or whatever. I was like, hey, why don't you try this? And I'm not even the coach. I'm just the adult hanging out at the desk. And I walk over and hey, why don't we try a couple things like this? We're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. I bet you can get higher if you do this. I bet you, hey, have you ever seen this show? Have you ever done this? They just don't give up. And you just embed all of those aspects. And the parents over there going, I was gonna leave. We were gonna go because he couldn't get the wall. Right. And then we weren't gonna come back. And now we're coming back because she just made my kid feel like the power of yet means I have to be here more times than just once. Even birthday parties, like gaining people from birthday parties when you have structure. So we don't have like just crazy open gym birthday parties. They don't exist in our facility because people get hurt and things get done. And especially friends are like, hey, if you tried it, I'm going to try it like this. We all know how that happens in a ninja gym when they're out on a stretcher and with a broken whatever. And so I think sometimes the business model just needs to be you figure out what you want and how you're going to do it, and then you stick to it.
Sure.
And then you hold the people, the community accountable for that, or you hold your employees accountable for it. Hey, you're not the one making these decisions. We are. We need you to follow XYZ. Why? Because the rationale is if we do these things, one, it will feel like it is a very well taken care of and vetted facility, and they will feel comfortable coming back. I said, experience is always the first thing. Mm-hmm. If I don't have a good experience and I don't feel like you don't have to go 10 feet over to make me feel good. It's a smile. It's a conversation. It's a touch point. They recognize that I existed. I wasn't just standing there and they walked by me 10 times. Just that first touch is what makes people come back.
Love that.
Absolutely. We want to shift gears and talk about the pop and hold.
Sure. So obviously Ninja Gym came first, but pop and hold came from, and I'll drop another thing. My husband and I are motorcycle safety instructors, and we both ride, and we have put on a large event. I used to make awards for those events, and it was a pain in the rear end to do them at school on my prep period with the tech teacher and his old CNC machine. And so I was like, listen, to my husband, I said, this is crazy. I said, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And it was just taking up so much time. So fast forward, he taught a motorcycle class. Fast forward, he was on Marketplace. Fast forward, he bought me a CNC machine. He was like, hey, you're going to be able to do these awards for this event. Perfect. Let's splice in the fact that I took Zoe to Williamsburg, Virginia, to an elite camp by Max Feinberg. He used to live on the East Coast. He doesn't anymore. He lives out in Colorado, close to Caden and Ninja Intensity. But anyway, so Max was doing this, and he was like, hey, I think you guys ought to come down. It'd be really cool for Zoe. And I saw this poor kid work his tail off for this elite camp because we know they don't exist for kids that are already in competitions. And so I was like, okay, I can do this. I don't have to do it better, but I know I can make this a robust thing for our gym. I bring it back. I say to Keith, we're going to do this. And oh, by the way, I'm going to try to cut some holds for Max for this camp. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I think I'm going to make him like, the first hold I made him was like an alien head because he and Caden were going to come do this elite camp 3 years ago. And so Max and Caden get there and they're like, wow, this is super cool. Had this big green alien head, whatever. They were going to use it. Saturday of the Ninja Camp, they were like, hey, can you make me a big star? Sure. I walk over to the computer, I key it in, I put the star on it, I come home, I cut it out of on the CNC machine. Mind you, this is probably like 2 weeks after I had owned this thing. And I was like, I'm gonna wing it. We're gonna go. My dad was a woodworker. I learned a whole bunch of stuff from him. And so I made him a big Mario star. I took it in the next day. It was still wet. We hung it up. It was like, okay, we're gonna do this. We run the competition for the elite camp on Sunday. Perfect. They go home, they fly home on Monday, and I get like this long text message. Hey, Bucket of Chalk 4.0, we would really love, could you do a Nemo fish and a bunch of Pepperidge Farm goldfish? Sure, I'll try. Whatever, I'll do anything. It doesn't matter. This is super fun. New machine and wood and like the marriage of all of this stuff, considering I teach sculpture and ceramics, so all 3D. And there it was. Max and Caden were like, hey, you should make sure you watch. This is cool. And they didn't tell me where any of these things were going to be. I think it was like the first obstacle line that everybody had to touch. And at that point in time, Pop and Hold was born because it was like the social media was like, who made these? Where'd they come from? And I've never seen this stuff. This is so cool. My kid loves Pepperidge Farm. He grew up on goldfish. And I'm like, I looked to my husband and I went, I think I need to turn on the website. I think I need to figure this out. How do I do my business model, which was, how do I do custom? No one made goldfish. The other companies make goldfish holds. No one else is, what if I do this? Their business model is, I'm going to do this. And then if people like it, they're going to buy it. And I went, that's never my intention. And so the business model was born of complete custom, what you want, the color you want it, the size you want it, and how you want to use it. And so that is where it is currently now, 2 years later, and doing well, obviously, at WNL Worlds. I have a full colorful display and pop-up that grabs the attention of people. So the art side, my creative director side brain says, hey, it needs to be bright. It needs to catch the eye. It's like, why do they put the milk in the back of the store? Because you have to walk past all the other stuff they want you to buy. That's the same thing I'm doing. It's like the candy aisle for the kids. It's exactly that whole point too. And then hopefully it's a conversation about custom and about their work. And again, like that first touch, their first experience touch with me was bright, colorful, and cheery. And now they want their own custom hold for their facility or hanging at home in their gym, or they want to give it as a gift. I've had the whole gamut. And even donations. Hey, will you donate to my fundraiser? And I'd really, if it could be something like that. The growth in 2 years is an astronomical percentage. I don't even know if I could put a number on it. It's done so well that I'm now trying to figure out how to get to UNAA or trying to get to FINA or trying to get to a big regionals, whatever. It means so much to me that the community has not only uplifted the business model that I have, but they've just embraced it and run with it. So they still teach me stuff. I still have to problem solve the machine every single time, or the software. It's not as easy. My lead time is normally like 4, sometimes 5 weeks. By the time it's, hey, I'd like a custom piece and here's a little bit of information, and then lots of conversation in between, lots of work on the backside in designing and in the program that I use, and then getting it out, getting a quote, getting an invoice paid, and then the machine hopefully running smoothly the way you need it to, because we know that technology is not always our friend. And then you get to the point where you're like, I've created this beautiful piece, and that's where you see it show up on social media, and it's all fun. It's all fun.
WNL World Finals is where I met you, Julie, and your display and the obstacles and stuff that you had there, it did pop out. Like, you nailed it with the being able to stand out. Question is, how was that for you? You were just talking about trying to get to UNA, the FINA, these other events. Was that experience there good at the WNL?
I've had 2 very great years at WNL. 2 very great years. Last year was my first year. Obviously, like I said, the business is only basically 2 years old from that August timeframe. So this August will be a full 2 years, basically. So it was super important to me to be able to touch the community. That's how you're going to get your brand out there. And so last year I went with a lot of small holds. So I had my whole fish line in different colors, and I had started to make my own cane slash hook because it's like a hybrid. I had also done some hybrid stuff and HDPE, which is the plastic product that you can use. And so that was on the cusp. Not everybody was using that. It seemingly there's a few more people that are using that stuff now. But last year was a lot of small stuff, and I still did very well. So I had a lot of people coming, and then I gained a lot of custom orders after that throughout the year. So it was a no-brainer. I was going to go back. And for WNA this past year, I had done a piece for Jen Sanders and Megan Budway. I did a butterfly. I believe it's part of Jen's persona. I think she uses a butterfly as her ninja part. Anyway, so I made a couple of those for them for a fundraiser for WNA, and people went wild. They were just like, this is gorgeous. This is great. This is awesome. There's so much versatility. I made it so that there were slots in it. They could hold the sides. They could flip it upside down. There were 4 holes. You could use it. There were just so many different ways to use the piece. And so this year I was like, I think I'm going to make some butterflies. And then I was like, what do I do for the boys, so to speak? And so I had a custom order that the guy wanted it to look. I think there's 20 some different ways to use this piece. And I called it the gamer because it reminded me of a kid sitting down like with a game controller in a way. And I think there's a few of those that have been in the ninja community that have been made. But this one was super fun. So this year I went with medium-sized holds, and then a few small things. And then I had done UBW, and I had a fruit line. So I did watermelons down at UBW, and people were like, this is awesome. So I did lemons, limes, oranges, fruit. It honestly is like, it's like a childhood. You look back and you go, wow, if I could have done that as a kid, or if I could have held that and used that as a kid, would I have loved it? And if I say yes, it goes. I'm doing it. So I sold out of butterflies. I sold out of gamers. I came home with very few things. I had put a couple products in an HDPE line, and I'm really developing some of those pieces, and it went well. Let's just put it that way.
Awesome.
I'll be coming back.
And so you had mentioned that you have an affiliation with WNL. So I'd love to hear you talk about that in the sense of how does it interact with your gym and how are you contributing to the competitive ninja scene?
So we have been a WNL facility, I believe, since 2020. Don't quote me on those numbers, not necessarily, because we didn't own the business at that point in time. But we've been, with our daughter, we've been attending WNL Worlds since the first one in Greensboro. So I think that was 2019. So that was her first Worlds. They took a year off in COVID, and they had done it in New Jersey. And then the last 4 years have been back. So we've been attending six years worth of Worlds. And so again, that being involved in running a classroom, 25 kids every 75 minutes, knowing how to manage things, purchasing a gym, knowing how to manage that. I worked my way into working for WNL as a course manager. A couple years ago, before the current model of how things are set up, every rig did the entire division. So you would run a course. They would do all stage 1s, all stage 2s, all stage 3s on that course. That's when I got involved. So I sat as a course manager, and I had all of the people working the course underneath of me. And that's where I started with WNL, because they do, it's highly sought after because they do pay you. They do pay well. Believe it or not, every person you saw in a yellow shirt this past year was paid. And so there are no volunteers. It's all staff. There are no people and I know other leagues choose to do things differently. And we've also in the past, my husband and I were involved for a small period of time with some of those other affiliations just by attending. And we felt we fit more with the WNL model. The whole buy-in of the affiliation, we feel like as adults, we come to the table with adult conversations and be able to run those things. And that's where I turned over from a course manager to an event manager, basically. I don't do a lot of the stuff before we get there. That's for the admin that work either part-time or full-time for WNL. I show up on the Thursday or the Friday or the Sunday, whatever it is, for the setup. and then we get everything set up. So I could be involved in anything as much as if it's a regionals, maybe I'm helping set registration up and I'm thinking through the flow of about 600 athletes and their families coming through. What does that look like? And then coming in when the courses are running, how are things running smoothly, checking the warm-up area, making sure certified coaches are there, or making sure that the line managers have a good flow of getting people in. So that's what floor managing looks like at a smaller event. So this past year, I helped with Tier 2 Worlds in New Jersey. Yep. At Center Court, and then also both regionals that WNL had taken over. They had done both the Northeast and the New England regionals. And so I floor managed for both of those, help out, connect with EMS and make sure calls are going where they need to if there's somebody down, or hey, there's something going wrong with the rig, or the course manager's like, hey, the computer's not working right. You're on the first touch of some of those things to make sure that they get back on track and we get back running. At Worlds, I tack on another tidbit, which is basically when the community has frustrations, which is not always the fun part of, but it's certainly a liaise between hoping to calm them down or educate them or say, hey, you've pointed out a great piece that maybe seemingly might have been missed. Let's see what we can do about this. And then sometimes I'm a liaise between if there's a video review or something that even the course missed. There's a lot of moving parts. I'll say that. This year, by far, all of the 5 that I've been involved in, hands down the best. I think it was the people that we hired. It was the people that we knew could do the positions. It's also the characteristics that they have in their personality that knows that they can do those things, but they can also be part of a team. Because we all know there are some individuals who don't necessarily understand what team aspect means. And so rightfully so, they can do a job. Doesn't mean they can do it with you. Yeah. And sometimes it's delegation. Sometimes it's a pivot when it just, this year was just the best that I've ever been involved in. And I've heard that from the community quite a bit, because most of the people around here know that I do work for large events. And so of course they're always chomping in my ear like, hey, what are they going to do next? I'm like, listen, I don't work for WNL. I just work the large event. I just help them really manage those large scale things. And I enjoy it. If I could do something different than teaching, it would probably be consulting on how to be a better person in life, or how to figure out what to do, or how to problem solve, like design thinking. I teach that in my classroom, and I really feel like that exudes in my persona when I do large events for WNL. Sure. And just that bigger idea.
So on that note, I think you have a lot of very interesting perspectives, right? It's like you're a ninja parent, you're a ninja gym owner, right? You've been involved with these running of these events. So where do you see ninja going? What is the next big problem for ninja to solve?
How to get to the moon, right? Let's shoot for the stars. So I think there's a lot of perspectives. We've got a lot of people moving, like with the Ninja USA headed in the speed course, figuring out how to do things over and over. So how we can make connections and get into the Olympics, and how do we get on the board for that? That is one direction. I think that's phenomenal. You know what I mean? I think things do need to change in a way to accept new sports and have that growth. So you see that door opening where we took over, the equestrian is now gone, and like OCR stuff is in. So I think that's a great aspect. I think it would be great that we shoot for more facilities that are educating and more opportunities for that education to help our kids not only understand business, but understand themselves, understand how to learn to be the adult, the growing, the kid, to take all that perspective over. I see education sometimes as a problem of we've taught them to go sit and do, and we've not taught them to think for themselves. So I really want Ninja to help provide that larger aspect. You can't go sit and do in life. It just doesn't work that well. So I'm really hoping that if we shoot for the stars and the moon, we get all of those things. We get more facilities that have education involved, as well as the physical aspect, but we touch the kids in the how do I deal with emotion and how do I do all those things better? I think that's going to make us better. I don't think ninja competitions are ever going to go away. So I think they're truly just going to continue to hone what we do and make everything better. Seemingly maybe more collaborative conversations could happen with some organizations. Even I've said this, I don't know how many times, I want one admin on every organization to have access to a Google Calendar. And when you choose to put an event, a large event on the calendar, you're making a choice that you may split or divide who comes and who doesn't because of there's so many things happening with it. So I see it as a great thing that there's so many things happening. I also see it as a detriment because everyone wants their piece of the pie. And I'm not quite sure how many pieces of pie we have either to start or remaining. I don't know how many there are. And I see that as growth. And I hope that our growth can be that we start to figure those things out.
Absolutely.
Baseball.
I mean, that is part of the growth of the sport. 5, 10 years ago, but even 5 years ago, there wasn't as many opportunities to compete all over. And now families and ninjas are starting to have to pick and choose where they can go and what comp they're going to do and the timing of it. Things have developed much more to where there's more opportunities. I don't know if they're necessarily better opportunities, but that's just the fact of the matter. There's a lot more of it. And to your point earlier, there's people in our community that didn't even know ninja's a thing yet.
Yeah.
But one thing you were talking about before that was that educational piece. It's almost like if there was a Ninja Gym Academy. That's Allie's.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I look at it like an educator. I foresaw a problem when people would come and working WNL events. I see a lot of aspect of the coach that gets paid by the facility to show up. I also recognize that not every facility can have a coach that shows up. So the parent is now able to become a certified coach. And so sometimes that can be give and take.
Yeah.
So in some ways, it can be detrimental. In some ways, it's good. In some ways, it causes conflict. Pop and Hold, the brand came from my daughter. So she's the bubblegum ninja. So that's why my brand has the bubblegum blowing. The brand is cut it, pop it, hang it, hold it, because in the machine, you have to put perforations. So that's where all that stuff comes from. But I don't intend to slow down. So Pop and Hold now, I have a spinoff. So I have Pop News. So I just did a whole thing like how to attend a ninja competition. And it's on my website. It's basically on my shop page for free. Download it. It's a PDF. I want to educate the community on how we can work together and be better. And then rightfully, I also just pushed a new product at Worlds, which is called Pop and Heal. So I'm actually creating, I have a healing hand balm that can be used on anything. And so creating those types of kits and things like that to educate kids on how to heal themselves, whatever that is.
So
I agree with you.
sleep?
Education is 100% how we're going to move forward, and the conversations that are going to come from it are definitely good.
Yeah.
So when do you sleep?
About 5 hours a night, maybe.
Hi.
My husband will tell you my brain never shuts down. And so I have this running like Google Keep, but I have everything that I do has a Google Keep. So they're all different colors. So for the gym is this color, for personal is this color, for Pop and Hold it's this color, and then everything else. And it's just when you wake up, you put it. I use the Mel Robbins model, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So if in 5 seconds I haven't written it down or gotten up to go do something about it, it's my own fault. And so I just live like that. The same thing. If you can pick the glass up that you left on the counter and put it in the sink, tomorrow you don't have to spend more time cleaning your house. It's just you do it while you live. So I look like that's my model. I do it as I live and I live it so that it's always a part of me. And then when fruition happens, like my creative mind says, that's not going to happen for 5 or 6 months. That's okay. It's still problem solving while we're there, like in the procrastination model.
Yeah.
Your brain just figures it all out later.
Julie, I really appreciate your insights, your perspective, your creativity, your want to help educate the ninja community. How can people get connected with you? How can they learn about Pop and Hold, Ninja Logic, and all the things?
I'd say the best way is Instagram. I really try to keep social media open. I hope I answer back in a short period of time. They can scan any of the codes that are on social media and get the shop page. We can have a conversation about custom. We can have a conversation about another product too. So I'm completely open to that. And again, the whole business model is custom piece, custom color, custom use, and custom for them. So that one off is really the direction that I like to go.
Great. Very cool. Let's end with this. What does ninja mean to you?
Ah, ninja means life and fun and smiles.
I love it.
Well,
Thanks so much,
Julie,
guys. I appreciate it. Had fun.